Hi, this is Craig Satterley in Northern Michigan. This is take one for the week of October 2nd. Peace be with you. So I am praying for all of those whose lives have been disrupted by Hurricane Ian. We were able to send a check from our Synod Disaster Response Fund to, I believe, the Florida Bahamas Synod to help with the relief efforts. So I thank you for your generosity, which makes it possible for us to help in this way. Thank you. We continue to pray for the situation in Ukraine. I am told that the people of God, who we know as St. Stephen Lutheran Church in Lansing, gave a sizable gift to help our relief efforts in Ukraine. So I thank the people that are and were St. Stephen, and I thank all of you who are helping to respond to Ukraine with your prayers and your generosity. Thank you. So a week ago, on what would that be, the 26th of September, Monday, I tested positive for COVID. So I have had serious cold-like symptoms. I think my vision was affected a little bit, having trouble putting thoughts together. I can work for about an hour, and when I want to sleep, I want to sleep. So I want to thank Pastor Roseanne Anderson, who adjusted her schedule so that she could be with Holy Trinity in Niles on the 25th for their last worship services, and to be at Christ in Wyoming on the 2nd to install Pastor Rob Schmidt as pastor. So thank you, Pastor Roseanne. The thing that I learned about having COVID is that you have to quarantine for 5 days, and then for 5 days beyond that, for at least 5 days, you can go outside, but you need to wear a mask, and you are to avoid all gatherings. So that means when pastors and parishioners get COVID, because we are still getting COVID, that they're going to miss one, possibly 2 Sundays. And that's just CDC. So while we want to be done with COVID, COVID is not done with us yet. And so I keep my eye on COVID. I tried my best to keep the Synod informed about COVID. Someone's got to be in the Old Testament, someone's got to be standing on the wall watching for danger so that other people don't have to. And I take that responsibility on myself. So funny that after all my watching and looking, and Andreas Teich teased me after hiding in the basement, COVID found me. Yes, it did. And I wouldn't wish it on anyone, even with me being vaccinated and it not being a ventilator or fear of death or hospitalization. It's still no fun. So, COVID. So I expect I will have another quiet week. So the reading for Sunday, the Revised Common Lectionary reading for Sunday, is that wonderful story of Jesus healing the 10 lepers and them all going off on their way, and one, a Samaritan, returning to thank Jesus, to give praise to God. And I think we need to let go of the other 9, how come they didn't come back and all of that kind of stuff. They did what Jesus told them to do. They went and showed themselves to the priest, and then they had been restored to their community, to their family, so they went back to life. And anybody who's been in quarantine for COVID, even for a few days, knows what that is like. We want to get back to normal. And they may have offered a silent prayer to God of thanks as they were running home to meet their families. But this Samaritan turned around to make a point of giving praise to God, to thank Jesus. What I find helpful here is that Jesus points out that all 10 were made clean, but the 10th, the Samaritan, he was made well, or he was made whole. And what the good news that Jesus is giving us, I think, or the insight, the good news is Jesus' will is for wholeness and healing. And Jesus is teaching us that gratitude is a component of wholeness. If we want to live a whole life, gratitude needs to be a part of it. So We need to cultivate. We can cultivate. We should cultivate. We do cultivate gratitude within ourselves and as a church. And the deal is there's so much to be ungrateful about. There is so much not good news. So cultivating gratitude takes intention and it takes effort. And if we need help, if we need an example, Jesus points to the Samaritan, to the one who is other than us, who is different from us, who probably has even less reason to be grateful. When we look to those brothers and sisters, not there, but for the grace of God go I, but people who know their need of God the most tend to be most grateful to God. And so we look to those brothers and sisters and see their gratitude. We learn to be grateful in our circumstances. So the good news, I think, in this sermon is that Jesus' will is for wholeness and for healing for all 10. And we can move ourselves beyond cure, cleanliness, to wellness, to wholeness, by making gratitude a part of our lives. And in these days, having a grateful spirit would probably do us and others good. So that is what I am thinking about from northern Michigan as I count down the days till a COVID test. I'm Bishop Craig. This is Take One. May the peace of Christ be with you always. Take care.